So I just bought my Cadillac XT5 and I paid for it in cash. All right, first drive as a owner outright of this Caddy. $25,000. I'm the proud owner of this beautiful luxury SUV, and I want to show you in this video how I went about buying this vehicle outright. I learned a ton. I've never done this before, so it was an interesting experience. I'd love to share it with you, and we'll do that right now. Welcome back, welcome back. This is Joshua Talks Money. I'm Joshua, and I'm glad you found your way to the channel. So first things first, I'm very excited to say I'm not a car person. You know, I don't have these dreams of owning some Lamborghini or very expensive vehicle. But I am sensitive that in our society, having a nice vehicle is somewhat of a status symbol. And there is some kind of pressure to drive something fairly nice. So we made the decision to settle somewhere in the middle. I have my paid off Ford Fusion, and now we have this SUV, a little bit more luxury that we can share for those types of situations. So the little secret I will disclose here is we leased this Cadillac. Now Dave Ramsey would be furious, you know, smoke coming out of his ears, but my wife and I chose to do a 3-year lease, and we thought because of some of our businesses there might be some tax advantages. That really didn't necessarily work out, but I have no regrets about the lease. Especially because we've chosen to buy the vehicle. 2 months before our lease was set to end, that's when we really kicked in our due diligence. And what we found was the value of our vehicle compared to the buyout price was pretty close. And it was also pretty close to some of the prices of these used vehicles that weren't even necessarily luxury comparable. So that gave us some confidence to try to pursue this vehicle that, one, we already knew the quality. We'd taken care of it, done all the maintenance. So we knew it was treated really well, and it was something we were more comfortable exploring. Okay, so how did I come up with that buyout price? Well, you'll have to contact whom you have the lease with, and they'll give you this number. And what I believe, it kind of, for us at least, it rotated by the day. It was like market pricing. So you call, they give you a payoff amount, essentially. So let's talk about car dealerships for a moment. I had the option to either facilitate this buyout process online and send some documents and receive some back, and it was going to take a little bit longer, or I could run on down to the car dealership, the local Cadillac dealership, and they could do it for me in a single day in person. Now the problem is people hate car dealerships. They're sleazy, they've got such a bad reputation, you get pressured, and that's not just me saying that. This is branding and marketing from some of these different car sales businesses that pretty much say, hey, we're not going to bother you. Or the big one, our dealer salespeople, they don't make commission. You know, they make their money off of like good reviews and things like that. So if you're in the car sales business, I feel for you. It's tough. You have an uphill battle from some of the people that have done it maybe not the best way. So all that drama aside, I decide, do I want to go to the dealership? Do I want to be pressured into buying some ridiculous, you know, Escalade or, you know, financing the car when I don't really want to do that? And I decided that my time was worth more. I would rather go and fight my battle there in person than do this back and forth and document scanning and all the rest of it. So as I was corresponding with the local Cadillac dealership, they sent me back this financial breakdown. And basically there's the car purchase price, and then there's some taxes and some tag fees, and then there's this like transaction fee, and that's I think $7.99. There's other videos on YouTube that will talk about maybe better ways to do this, to negotiate these fees. Here's how you can avoid getting ripped off. I didn't really do that. And this video is not about tactics to get that price lower. This is just what I did. Okay, so I show up to the dealership and I have an appointment set. I sit down at the desk and the salesperson comes in and says, all right, so let's go ahead and get you to fill out this application. And I said, what application? And she's like, oh, for the financing. And I just thought, no, I'm not going to be financing this vehicle. And I mentioned this in my email. I mentioned this in the reason I was choosing to come in and do this. So it did feel like at the last minute, we're still going to push this financing option. So I told them, no, I have cash. I just want to buy this today. That actually changed the process. It wasn't, here you go, here's the money. I had to fill out a lot of paperwork. It took about, all in all, an hour to get this done. This purchase actually took place about 5 months ago, so I'm recording this much later. I know, I just fell behind on my videos. But the thing that's really unique about that is the lady in the room was saying, hey, there's a shortage of chips, and there's a big shortage of inventory for used vehicles, used and new. Car prices, used car prices, are just skyrocketing. And so what was really cool about that is, although I bought this vehicle has appreciated in price, which is really unheard of. And I think based on some of the most recent data, if I were to try to sell this in the private market, I may make a 10+% return despite driving it and putting more miles on it. That's not typically the case with vehicles. They typically just decline in price perpetually, which is why they're a bad investment. All right, and so basically the last part of the process, I filled out a few more pieces of paperwork, one of which would designate where the title of the vehicle goes, and that title would be physically mailed to me several weeks after the purchase was complete. And that's it. I walked out of there. I was the proud owner of this vehicle. No extra drama. I declined any extended warranties. I didn't do anything else except buy the vehicle, pay the few transaction fees, and drove off. I get asked sometimes, why did you choose to buy it outright in cash? Why wouldn't you finance it, get a low interest rate, just kind of pay payments, maybe even pay it off early? For me, I really value being debt-free. That's something that I strive so hard to achieve, and I just don't want to carry that debt. Sometimes that's not even the most financially sound position to take, and that's something that I'm fine with. And one last thing on car payments. I really value travel and experiences, especially pre-COVID. I would travel and fly to different cities a lot. And so that, to me, that money was worth way more than paying on a vehicle. And I have friends and colleagues, and they have car payments at $500 or $700, sometimes over $1,000. And I would always think of those in terms of airplane tickets, right? You can fly to New York from Florida, where I am, for like $300. If you have a $1,000 a month car payment, that's like 3 flights a month. And when I do it in my head like that, there's no way. I thought this would change as I got more money, but no. I don't know what amount of money I would need to justify putting that much towards any vehicle. But that's why I did it. I bought it, it's paid off, it is done. I'm very blessed and fortunate I could even do that. So a couple key takeaways to summarize this whole experience. One, you've got to do your research and know what is the buyout price of your vehicle, and what is that comparable to something like Kelley Blue Book or maybe a private sale. A few other things you're going to need. You're going to need your driver's license, of course, a photo, and the actual reading on your odometer, your insurance, the contact at the insurance that you have, because they're going to actually transfer the insurance directly into your name, kind of removing themselves from the vehicle. And that's pretty much it. The money, of course, to pay for it, and you should be smooth sailing from there. Hey, if you've purchased a car outright, if you're debt-free, if you have plans to do this, let me know in the comments. Let me know if I blew it. Did I spend too much on this dealer fee? Would you have done it differently? Please shoot me a message, let me know, and we'll keep talking about money here on this channel.